You are listening to the audiobook Veilshatter, Legends of Elyndar, now available on Amazon, Audible, and wherever books are sold, featuring our three unforgettable heroes. An epic adventure begins.
Price of transformation. The labyrinth trembled as if it sensed her decision, rift walls flickering with mirrors of the nearly lost, a mother's smile in half-light, the clasp of a friend's hand at a turning point, spires of Avestra fracturing and reforging in glassy gleams. Liora stood within the storm's eye, her body spent to its marrow by the runes laced down her arms, hands sticky with blood and memory. Beneath her skin, the memory key pulsed, wanting to dissolve, to take her with it into a benign oblivion. She shook, not with fear this time, but with a gathering, like thunder in the bones before lightning splits the sky. Around her, Veyran and Ariel clung to what was left of themselves by raw instinct, drawn closer by the centrifugal ache of survival. The air still throbbed with power. She became aware of their nearness. Veyran's ragged breath counting out the seconds between one collapse and the next, Ariel's trembling fingers brushing moon water from scorched lips. Yet the space between them all was filled by the greatest absence, Talon's warmth, his irreverent grin, the living soul lost in the cost of their cause. The Veilborn loomed, a shimmer of regal void, vast and formless, shifting and unanchored as a fever. It did not advance but watched, multitudes of eyes flickering in and out of existence. Its voices were river cold, each word not spoken, but exhumed from the marrow of sorrow. Somewhere in its depths, the devoured hollows of countless lives hungered fruitlessly, unable to reach or retreat. She could feel the rift's edges slicing through her own soul, trying to pull her apart into unfinished stories. Her heart pounded, not with defiance, but with the bone-deep ache of every parting she'd ever endured, every joy that sharpened because of the risk of its loss. To give that pain up, to let the Veilborn feast on it for a numb, aching peace, would mean to betray the gift of what Talon and the others had given her. The temptation still came, soft as a lullaby. Lay it down, Liora, let the world slip gentle and blank. There is solace in forgetting, in clean walls unmarred by grief. You are the last threshold. Yield, and I will promise peace for all the restless dead. Its words slid within her, cold where her own thoughts still burned. But she saw, in the face it wore now, a mother's weeping, a lover's regret, the hollow mask of someone who had fled the cost of caring, what true annihilation would mean. She straightened, gathering the fragments of her will, her fingers closing around the memory key's scalded iron. In its cracked surface, she saw more than Talon's echo, more than herself. She saw every hand that had shaped her path, every voice that had ever told her no or not yet, or endure. She saw the world, impossibly wounded and fragile, but still singing. Out loud, her voice hoarse as splintered bark, she gave shape to the pain. It is not peace if the price is emptiness. I would rather bear the wounds that love and courage bring. That is the offering I make. Let the rift witness it. She raised both hands, blood smearing in runic patterns across her skin, and began the incantation. Not the crisp syllables of word-binding, but the guttural, ancient tongue of soul-weaving, where meaning was pressed from soul to world. Her words snagged on the raw places in her chest. Each syllable cost her a memory, a regret, and she named them, for joy lost, for Talon, for hope broken but never surrendered. Around each, the spell spun tight, the world shuddered in answer. The rift's walls convulsed, agony blooming outward as fractured images whirled. The spell twisted the rift's song. Its note, previously only devouring memory, now resonated in new harmony. Pain did not vanish. Instead, it was caught and refracted, each chord layering over the next into something heartbreaking but radiant. Her bones vibrated with the force of it, the magic wrung from her every last drop of strength. Light and shadow braided across the stones, the melody torn between despair and exultation. In that storm, Liora saw Talon's echo, wan now, outlined in memory's blue fire, but whole in spirit. "Do it, Asterix," he murmured inside, his tone fierce. "Show them we are not made for hollow peace. The wound becomes the way, if you dare it." She felt her grip slipping, her vision flickering to black. A cry threatened to break her jaw, but she ground it into the next word, the next piece of herself offered up. With each pain accepted, her failures, her loves, her griefs, the spell burned brighter. It sapped the fever from the rift, drew the Veilborn's eyes to slit narrow focus. The shadowed lord reared, all its stolen voices raised in a cacophony. "If you choose this, you change the song of the world. What is lost will not return as you dream. You may heal only by transforming, not by reversing, and the new shape may mark every living thing. Will you bear such consequence?" Her throat felt full of flame. She saw Veyran, too weary even for defiance, but still present, his storm ring flickering dully. Ariel wept openly, the alchemist's keen hands wrapping the last of her moonwater talisman into a spiral for grounding. They had come this far, for memory, for kin, for the chance that pain could be more than ruin. "I accept," Liora said, her words forging the final rune of the spell and her own fate. "Mark me, world. Let my choice shape the rift and all who come after." She drove the memory key into the ground, where it cracked open with a sound like an ancient bell. The rift's heart split wide, pouring out shadow and light alike, a torrent of all that had been lost, all that had been hoarded by the shadowed lord in its long exile. Faces, places, every vanished dream whirled through her mind and body, cutting and remaking her. The agony was beyond language, years seared into seconds, loves consumed and returned in a chorus of belonging. It was Talon's voice that anchored her. "Endure, let the wounds sing through you. Do not close, transform." Liora gave herself to the torrent, bearing her whole self to the pain and the blessing, their journey through terror and laughter, her mother's song weaving through starlit shivers every sharp kindness. She named what must be lost, Talon's hand in hers, the warmth of old festivals, Maruna's silver pines as they were, and in naming wove new pattern, absence honored but not erased, wounds mapped but not bled dry. The rift's song changed. Where once it devoured, now it mourned and remade. The ruin did not vanish, it resounded as history, a reminder woven deep into the land's memory. The shadowed lord's cry faltered, not destroyed but unmoored, forced into a quieter, truer form. All around, the fabric of the world thrashed, a groan from roots to stars as ancient lines redrew. Lightning traced new constellations across the rift walls, each crack stitched with luminous runes for courage, for memory, for compassion. The sunglass crystals of Merune's tundra appeared, then faded. Avestra's distant towers echoed in silhouette. The earth's voice deepened, settling reluctantly around the spell's cost. Liora collapsed against Veyran and Ariel, her breath coming in short, shocked bursts. Her blood cooled, the last reserves of soul-weaving spent. She heard, distantly, the world's own song trembling above her, no longer a shriek, not yet a hymn, but a promise. In the rift's heart, the Veilborn's form coiled in on itself, regal features melting into formless longing. "This pain I cannot feed, it births new hope. You are unbound, sorceress. The wound will heal only with the courage to bear its edge." She met its gaze, empty of malice, filled with broken understanding. "We go forward, not by denying what has burned us, but by letting the scar point home." The entity bowed, imperceptibly, a ripple through darkness. Its voices faded, no longer thousands, only one, whispering as it vanished. "Bear it well, daughter of grief." As the rift closed, its song folding back upon itself, the labyrinth disintegrated in lines of dawn gold. Rocks stilled, shadows ebbed. Each footstep they took away from the heart grew steadier, heavier with the new order of things. The air tasted sweet and bitter as storm-cleared leaves. Talon's echo lingered only for the span of a blink, but now his presence was not wound nor haunting, but a resonant thread in the spell's tapestry. Liora felt his laughter have weight in her memory, his wisdom pressed into her own voice. She let it go, not empty, but transformed, a blessing as ambiguous as the choice that had wrought it. Veyron steadied her as they reached the last lip of the rift, his eyes full of unshed tides. Beside him, Ariel drew a slow, trembling breath, her alchemist's soul alive with the ache of what might come next. All three bore the stamp of cost, the exhaustion in their gait, the way hope clung to each expression like fresh scars. Above, dawn cracked a pale line across the vault, flooding them in gold and silver. The land stretched in its new silence, not relief, but a deep, hard-won serenity. A Varillian songbird, battered but stubborn, alighted nearby and sang a note that shimmered through their bones. Its wings shed prisms on the still air, a fragment of the world's answer. Liora looked at the sky, then at her friends, feeling the bond between them iron strong, even battered by sacrifice. Every loss endured, every joy remembered, all threaded through the world newly forged by her will. The spell's cost would haunt her for all her days, and yet she knew the shadow in her soul was not her enemy, but a threshold she would cross again and again. They walked from the ruins not as healers nor victors, but as transformed, each bearing the song of wounds remade into wisdom, each marked yet alive. Behind them the rift's hush lingered, the cost of their choice echoing with both promise and warning. Somewhere beneath their feet, the bones of old Mirun hummed, awaiting what future scar or blessing might arise from this dawn. The world, though battered, would remember. So too would they. Even as the weight threatened to bow her back, Liora straightened, cradling the pain as both burden and beacon. The future was uncertain, jagged with consequence, but for the first time in what felt like ages, hope and grief walked in step, singing the way forward.